begin with this session, I want to introduce Bruno Despujol, who is managing director. Is it your managing director of in the Oliver Wyman organization, and in charge of all the travel and leisure industry. So you know everything about what's going on, and we want to know.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Christian. So this afternoon we're going to talk about and share what are the new mega trends of the industry. But this morning we would like to share the latest survey we did just before the summer, which is about global traveler sentiment survey. We did it's the third edition. We did one in May and October 2020, and it's very interesting to understand what's going on in the head and the behavior of business and leisure travelers. So it's we did that on 9 main business and travel countries, 5,300 respondents, classical profile of the industry, so more adult, 50% of loyalty program and frequent flyers, both from business and leisure. So you will see the full study is now available online, so you will be able to see it in the full version. There's a lot of material, but this morning we wanted to share the main highlights. So 4 parts in this study. Let's say the main mindset of the travelers, then a focus on business travel, a focus on leisure travel, and at the end, what are the key criteria, top criteria to purchase leisure or business travel. Not a surprise in terms of mindset. A lot of countries now are ready to move on and okay to travel, mostly domestic. But what is really different versus the pre-COVID period is the fact that it's really late booking pattern. So they're going to wait for the last minute because they want to understand what's going on in their country, in their destination country. Second, very important highlight of the general mindset of travelers is the fact that they are more or less comfortable depending of mode of transportation or activities. And this is very interesting to see because we see a lot of evolution over the last year. So they are now very comfortable about air, rail, dining, lodging, but still quite uncomfortable. So these graphs show the uncomfortability, if you allow me to put it this way, for cruise, for ride sharing, for any kind of public transportation. And you will see in the detail that it can be actually, it's an average here, it can be very different country by country. So I take cruises, for example. Canadians are still very uncomfortable, more than 40% with this activity, but you take Italian that love cruises and they are very comfortable with it. You take Chinese are pretty much at ease with all this kind of mode of transportation and activity, but unless they have to travel international. So it's very interesting also to see the big differences between continent and country. And probably the most, I think, interesting findings of these studies is what's going to happen in the midterm and long term. And let's say both business travel and leisure travel will change drastically. What they tell us is that at more than 50%, they are likely to change their travel habit in the long term. It's especially the case for Asia. Very much less for Europe, and especially French, don't ask me why, but that's the case. Obviously, not so surprisingly, that this is going to be short haul for a while, domestic for a while. They're going to focus more on hospitality choices. But I think these long-term trends is really deep, and we will develop this afternoon on what does it mean for the travel and leisure industry. Now, if we focus on the leisure side, three main messages. First, they are really comfortable now to travel, as we said. So 76% expect to travel the same or more in leisure. A great evolution over the last year. But what is really interesting is how they're going to spend it. First, they say that they're going to spend less. Not in every country, but in some of them, especially emerging country or China. And they're going to switch the way they spend towards experientials. Experience spends, it can be dining, activity, accommodation, and much less is in, for example, peak seasons, much less in premium tickets for airline or trains. And this is a trend that we see and we have seen in the past, and I think that has been accelerated over the last 2 years. Second point about leisure is there is some switch in the way they want to spend in various hospitality. So this is a net likeliness to stay. So if they're going to stay more at which kind of hospitality, less in some other. And what is striking here is the fact that they basically trust family. That's not a surprise, but also big brands, big hotel brands. And this is, I think, the impact of all the policy and the reassuring of big brands versus classical home rental or vacation rental. We see that over the last year there had been great progress. And what will be interesting is Carlos will describe what actually happened this summer, because this is intense. Now we're going to see what have happened over the summer, especially when you look at the price. So that's leisure. Let's say some surprised, not so much. What we expect is a general catch-up in the industry. We have observed this catch-up effect in the previous crisis. Remember that for the SRAS, we had a catch-up of more than 15% just after the crisis, and we expect this kind of strong rebound in the leisure industry. Now, if we take the business travel, it's another story. And some make the joke of saying it's going to be Zoom or resume. And there is still a debate here, to be clear. And we wanted to share a few figures. First, when you look at traveler, they can be frequent traveler, less frequent traveler. They all say that they can work from home at 67%, which is huge. And it's in constant progress over the crisis. They also say that they're going to stay more at home, work more from home, nearly more 2 days, which is huge, over a week. And they also say that their company, their corporate, issued a lot of policy. So 30%, 35% of them already issued some more restrictive travel policy, but you will see in the study that 50% also issue some new use of space policy or work from home policy. So it's a clear reset of the way of working that will have great impact in the business travel. Overall, they consider that video conference has been effective. And this is a second strong message here. Whatever the purpose for developing a new relationship, managing existing commercial relationship, collaborating effectively internally, or learning and developing. And on all these dimensions, there was a strong increase of the confidence and on the effectiveness. And this, we know, has an impact. So what does it mean in terms of forecast? We know there is still a strong debate, and we will show this afternoon that over more than 10 studies and assessment for professional, the average forecast is minus 25% of the business travel industry. But you have Ben Smith from Air France KLM that said that as soon as they will lose one contract because they weren't there, they will catch up. And you have Bill Gates that said that the business travel industry will decrease by 50%. So there is still a lot of debates. And what we observe from our study is when we ask them, do you want to get back on clear business travel, they say yes. They say their intention is to catch up. So we expect that even if the midterm trend is quite negative, we could observe a catch-up effect after these two very hard year of COVID, especially, and that was just before the summer, remember, for the economy that were booming, such as the US or China. Last few figures on top criteria of purchase. Unfortunately, only 17% of consumer consider sustainability measure as a top 3 preference factor. It has been ranked the last over the 3 survey we did over the last 18 months. Let's say that cleaning policy is less important, so there is some kind of increase of trust toward the professional of the industry. And last comment is they all are willing to have a seamless travel. It's not new, but very confirmed. They want to share their data and they want to have biometric information shared in one system. Thank you very much and very happy to answer to your questions.
Thank you, Bruno. And then we have the clear view or a better view of what's going on in the future, but right now, we have to know that Carlos Sendra from Mabrian is going to give us some more insights just to stress out what's going on right now.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And first of all, thank you for the organizers, Eventis Media and the Global Travel and Tourism Resilience Council for the invitation of being here. Yeah, as Christian just said, what we did is, well, Mabrian is a travel intelligence company, and we basically analyze data in a global scale to get information and interpret all that information to understand trends and try to anticipate that trends in the tourism sector. Right, and what we did is a study during this summer high season, July and August, that can complement the study that just Bruno presented of Oliver Wyman's, and to prove what's actually going on during this summer with figure and facts. That I think it's going to be interesting, since some of that new trends has a lot to do with a more sustainable travel too. I'll go directly to the main findings. You will get the full presentation to download it. Basically, we can highlight 4 trends that are important. The first one, it's pretty obvious, but we can prove it with facts, which is obviously this summer it's been much more domestic travel than ever, right? I will show you with figures how much is that segment, which is huge. Another trend is that longer stays are real too. This is something that we can also suppose, but we can prove it. Another great trend is the spending. The spending by visitor is increasing, dramatically increasing, and the way the travelers are spending has changed too, right? And basically, the travelers during this summer has discovered a new way to travel, and I'm talking about leisure travelers, because the restrictions and the context, and that has forced the travelers to change their mindset and discover new ways to take their vacations, right? How we know that? Basically, we know that by following the spontaneous behavior of the travelers through monitoring different sources of data, and as I said at the beginning, getting information from all that data. Real-time monitoring with a global approach, since this is pretty important. Everything is connected globally, so we have to get a global approach in order to identify the trends. Cross-checking all that information, it's vital as well. And the last but not least, probably the most important, being able to interpret all that information into a business manner in order to help the organizations and the companies in the travel sector. But let's see some specific figures, right? Domestic traveling, 74% of air connectivity during July and August, it's been domestic, right? That means an increase of 14 percent points comparing to 2019. It's a huge increase, and this is based on the airlines schedules of more than 3,800 airports all over the world. So it's a great trend to take in mind. The average length of stay has grown, probably less than we expected at the beginning, but especially in August, we found that the length of stay has grown in average 10% globally, which means that people is looking for longer stays, right? That's information coming from the study of the air bookings, more than 135 airports globally. The spending, travelers are spending much more during the stay. Those are real data comparing 2021 to 2019, sorry, provided by MasterCard, our partner, and you can see how the difference of the spend, the average spend by cardholder is huge, right? Even surpassing the 100% in some cases. The case of Monaco, Barcelona as well, increasing a lot, but all of them increasing a lot. In fact, we analyzed 15 different destinations all over the world, and all of them were growing, right? So it's a fact that wealthier segments of travelers have recovered first, and the fact of traveling domestically has made also that spend during the stay has going up. But not only spending more, but only spending in a different way, right? What we see in that global trends, they're spending less on hotels, less in restaurants, and less in entertainment and transportation, and spending more in other type of categories like the grocery stores, retail, home goods, professional services. That means mostly local companies, local businesses, right? So this matches a lot with the new trend of traveling domestically and looking for more individual experiences than the, let's say, previous trends on vacational traveling, especially in the Mediterranean. A great example of that is the study we made about the UK staycation, right? UK is the second most important outbound market, and that's something that it's important to study, especially for the destinations in the Mediterranean Sea that are really care about the evolution of that market, that source market, right? Obviously, the Brits has traveled internally more than ever, right? That's about the restrictions, that's an objective. But what we found is that the interest and especially the perception, the satisfaction of the experience, it's increasing. So that means they were kind of forced to stay in their country. There were a lot of inconvenience or restrictions to get international holidays. But when trying to have that holidays in their own country, the result, it's been really positive, right? The tourist product has increased, the security perception has increased, the interest by new tourist products has increased as well, like nature, family, and wellness. And that makes to understand that probably they have discovered a new way to have their vacations, right? The only, let's say, the only negative point is the climate perception, which obviously doesn't match their previous expectation in terms of the weather, right? So this is something pretty difficult to solve by UK, but it's the rest. It's pretty interesting. Okay, I'm moving forward. Just 3 ideas of how all this can connect with the more sustainable travel, right? Domestic traveling reduces the dependence of the destinations on low-haul source markets. That means as well shorter journeys, the longer stays also can reduce the pollution, and especially the higher spend and the higher fragmentation of that spend of the travelers during the stay can make a better wealth distribution among the residents and the local businesses, which is one of the key points of the tourism sustainability, right? And to end, are those trends just short-term, one-off? We think that not. There are many factors that has made that changes, contextual factors, and some of that trends are here to stay. Change is going to be every time faster and exponential. So there is no other way than monitoring real-time tendencies and behavior to understand what's going on and what's coming next. And for doing that, I think it's really important to point out that technology, as Christian mentioned before, it's the key point. Only technology can let us to manage all that information in real time, and only humans can interpret all that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much.